And welcome into the final hour of our show. Last year, about this time, we welcomed in a couple of lawyers to our studio. And there's nothing unusual about that, except these were singing and dancing lawyers. And they do it in their spare time. The song you just heard was from a selection that they did on a CD they put out from, I think, a year ago. But they've always got fresh material. And they put on shows around our area. They have a big one coming up on Friday night in Berkeley at the high school auditorium there at 8 o'clock. The group is called a Habeas Chorus Line, and the president of Butzel Long, the esteemed law firm, Justin Klimko, is with us, and he is the voice behind this group. Good to see you again. Welcome back.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you for having me.
And your musical accompaniment is provided by a man who's the Associate Dean of Development, General Counsel at the Thomas Cooley Law School, Jim Robb, who's here as well.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's tough to get away from the day job and do this, I'll bet.
Yeah, it does take a fair amount of time to put together the material, but on the other hand, we think of it as being highly therapeutic.
And I'm sure it is. This week's show, let's talk about that for a moment. This is your big one of the year.
That's right. We normally perform for private events and groups, so once a year we rent a theater, and the last several years we have been doing it in Berkeley, so that all of our friends and family and other following can come see us, and it's turned into a pretty big event.
And you've tried to keep things focused on current events with all of the tunes that you come up with. All of the material's original.
All the lyrics are original, that's right. We cover popular tunes and show tunes so people recognize the music, but the lyrics obviously are very different.
Now you do all of the lyrics, Justin?
I write the lyrics, that's right, and Jim then arranges all the songs musically.
Yeah, and how do you do that? I mean, you're a lawyer by trade, Jim.
I'm a lawyer by trade.
You're not supposed to sit there in your spare time imagining which song you're going to put to the song about "There's Hope for Obama."
Well, I'm a musician by fun, if you will, by hobby. Justin comes up with the songs based on some public or some issue going on, some theme he's come up with, and we work in a pop song or a show tune to it. And I actually record all that music on a keyboard called a synthesizer, which has lots and lots of kinds of sounds, different kinds of sounds.
Right.
And then we use that to perform live.
But you've got
stage.
a pretty big group. I mean, it's not just the two of you up there.
No, there are 9 of us. 9 of us. And what's fun about it is we're all lawyers except one who used to be a federal court clerk here downtown. But the 8 of us are practicing lawyers.
That's amazing to me that you guys would do that. Put your reputations on the line like that. Do you ever have judges out in the audience?
Yeah, sometimes we do. In fact, there's been an event that we performed for a number of years that's primarily a judge's event.
And do you write specifically just for them?
Occasionally, not entirely, because a show that was all songs about judges would get boring pretty quickly, I think. But we certainly do songs that they particularly like.
So I've got to believe that the city of Detroit and its bankruptcy case has caught your attention this year.
You think so?
Just a guess, Justin.
Yeah, we have a number of songs that are related to the bankruptcy. We've got a song called Pennies from Kevin, which is about the emergency manager. We've got a song called What a Difference Jones Day Makes. And we have some related songs. We've got a song about Belle Isle to the tune of Bally High. So there's a lot of songs that have a Detroit flavor to them.
I wish we had those on tape.
We actually haven't recorded them yet, so we couldn't do that. But people who come to the show will get a chance to hear them.
Exactly. Now, is that show open to the public? Anybody can come?
Absolutely.
Because you've got a lot of regular followers, don't you?
We do have developed a following over the years, people who look forward to the show a lot. And so we sell tickets for this event specifically so that we can have those people come.
Now, Jim, who goes first in this arrangement of setting up the lyrics and the tunes? Is it Justin's idea, and then you try to work with that?
Usually, it's Justin's idea. He'll come up with the song based upon something that's going on, and he'll work in a pun. If you will, Pennies from Kevin. That's based on the old song Pennies from Heaven. It's a perfect rhyme, and it fits. Usually, he does that, and then he'll present me with the lyrics, and then I'll cook up the music to it.
Now, will you use the Pennies from Heaven song as a backdrop for it?
We will do that. Yes, we do.
And is that what you imagine, Justin?
Yeah. I mean, I come in with the lyrics I write are to a specific song, so I'm trying to parody an existing song and create lyrics for it, and then I take the idea to Jim, and Jim creates the music based on that.
Yeah. So you sit around all day at Butts Along, your big law firm of which you're the president, and you're dreaming up songs in the big office. What do the lawyers who work for you say about all this?
We try to play that down. No, I mean,
billable hours.
I have many other things to do. Obviously, I do this in my spare time, which is limited. But as I say, it's therapeutic and it's recreational. So I really enjoy doing it.
Yeah, and you put on how many shows a year, you guys?
Anywhere from some years it's as few as 3 or 4, and some years it's as many as a dozen. It just sort of depends. We get a lot of work by word of mouth, and people's entertainment budgets and that sort of thing. So it depends year to year.
And where do you perform? I mean, what sorts of places besides this big one before 500 people this weekend?
We have performed at dinners and seminars and conferences and that sort of thing. We performed for all sorts of groups, dental groups, synagogues. We've performed for some. Who else, Jim, have we performed?
Well, the Detroit Regional Chamber of
That's
Mackinac
true.
Policy Conference. We went up on the island performing up there several
How did
years
I miss
ago.
that one?
So,
It was on the last day, and people may have started to leave. But
They left instead of listening to you. That's now. Do you just so people know if they're out there going, yeah, this might be interesting for my group? Do you write specific material for your audience, or
sometimes we do that, yes, depending on who we're playing for. We try to work something. And as I say, our shows have a number of songs in them, so not all the songs can be tailored to the audience. But when we get an opportunity, we will write a song that's specific for the audience. We've done a couple shows in Ohio, and we've tried to do something that was regionally specific to them. One year we did a song about Ohio State and got a few grumbles about that. But yeah, we do.
Well, good for you. In the real world, your day jobs, do you feel gratified? Are you happy, or not that you're not involved in the Detroit case right now? Is that a dream job for a lawyer to be involved in a huge case, or is that a nightmare job?
Well, it's interesting that obviously the Detroit bankruptcy is going to set a lot of legal precedents. This is the largest municipal bankruptcy ever. Most of that work is not being handled by local firms, unfortunately. Our firm has done some work for the city on some other areas, but it would be nice to be involved in that. But it's an interesting process.
Should that have been handled on a local basis by a local firm?
Boy, that's an interesting question to ask. I think there's some work that could have been. Obviously, there aren't many firms anywhere that have an expert municipal bankruptcy expertise in that, so there probably would have to be outside counsel in any event. But the degree to which it's happened, I think, is there's some controversy about that.
Jim, what about you? What do you think about that from the Cooley Law School standpoint?
from the law school side, a lot of our professors, of course, are interested in topics and comment on the law and things going on.
This is going to be a case study for many years, isn't it?
This is going to have national consequences. This is a very big bankruptcy, and it involves issues that haven't been presented, or at least on this scale. There have been other municipal bankruptcies, but there's been nothing like this, and this will set precedent. This will affect the bond markets. This will affect the financial firms, and it will have a lot of repercussions. And so everyone's watching this one.
That was my next question. Within your industry, I got to believe this is just talk all the time around cocktail parties, the water cooler, whatever.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is you really can't go to somebody to say what's going to happen because no one knows. No one has any experience with something this big.
That's right. The judge on the case is an experienced judge. Judge Rhodes is well known. He's a good judge, and I'm sure he's going to work hard on this case.
Is there any speculation about what happens if he decides that the city didn't have a right to go bankrupt?
Boy, that's a really interesting question. I don't know where the city would go next because obviously the numbers are the numbers, and I don't know how you get past some of those very large numbers in terms of the liabilities that the city has. But that is a threshold question about whether or not they were entitled to do it. And then you've got some other questions about whether the Constitution prevents, affecting some of the specific liabilities. So these are extremely interesting questions that are going to, as Jim said, are going to have an impact on municipal bankruptcies for years to come. Detroit will be sort of the test case.
Well, they're being argued right now down in federal court as that hearing continues, and no matter how it comes out, it's going to give you guys more fodder for your shows down the road. I'll tell you
You're
that.
right about that.
Yeah,
That did, and Kwame did too, as a matter of fact. So
he's the gift that just keeps on giving
That's
for
exactly
some people.
right.
Well, you as you know, being in the public eye, Frank, and your listeners are informed people. The day that the text message scandal broke, we didn't even know it was a scandal yet. we had a show that night, and we wrote a piece. We rewrote a piece and put something in about it that very night, and that bloomed into many songs that we did over a course of years. And of course, it didn't just involve Mayor Kilpatrick. His wife, Christine Beattie, Sharon McPhail was
You couldn't
involved,
have even dreamt
Gary
of
Brown.
all the material available to you there.
For satires and people who like to parody and who like to comment on what's going on, it was a very great
On the other hand,
situation.
one of our cast members continues to remind us that we could never make a real living doing this because real life is so ridiculous. It's hard to make it even more ridiculous through parody. I mean, some of the things that come our way, we say, gee, how do we top that?
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes those headlines are more amazing than parodies. Hey, thanks for coming in, guys. Tickets for your show on Friday night available where?
They'll be available at the door. It's a little too late to order them in advance, but they'll be available at the door, $15 a piece. The show starts at 8 o'clock at the Berkeley High Auditorium, which is on Catalpa, 11.5 mile between Woodward and Coolidge.
Good to see you again, Justin. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Frank.
And Jim, thank you as well. Keep writing well and stay out of the way of that bankruptcy case.
Thank you, Frank. My pleasure.
All right, thank you. Jim Robb, the man who comes from the Thomas Cooley Law School as its associate dean, and Justin Klimko, the man who is the president of Butzel Long, putting on their show with the Habeas Corpus line this Friday night at Berkeley High School.
Frank Beckmann breaks news weekday mornings. Catch him live 9 to noon on
760 AM.
and streaming on WJR.com.